part of it. Is like, it's not that it affected the minorities. The problem is now I'm the affected party because since we can't talk about the minorities anymore, we're talking about me talking about the minorities.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Right? It's just can't be racist anymore. You know? Let me be racist and you guys go back to being offended. That's
and quiet.
That's the order of things, right?
Yeah.
That's the way it should be. What up, man? I miss y'all boys.
It's been a minute.
It has been a minute, man.
It has been 2 minutes, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
How y'all doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Tired. I'm really, really tired. This new job with my butt. I'm enjoying it, but man, it's a lot. So, but it is what it is, man. That and trying to stay off of the internet because Trump will get your pressure up. This administration has been going wild, man. And so they banning the Department of Education or trying to do away with that. The FAA firing everybody there. What is it? The Republicans introduced a bill to do away with OSHA, which is huge for anybody out there that is a working class person. OSHA is a big deal for you, and that's the Occupational Safety Hazard Administration. So, if you work somewhere and they have guardrails, they have wet floor signs, if they have eye wash stations, if you're around chemicals, all that is OSHA. And they're trying to do away with that. The Administration of Worker Rights, that group, I mean, it's just so many groups that they're just kind of doing away with and firing the FAA workers. It's like they're just doing stuff so they can privatize. They're trying to kill all the government stuff, and then say, oh well, we really, really need this safety stuff, and so we can do it privately, right? Elon Musk already tweeted. He was like, air safety is very, very important. SpaceX can do that. I'm like, well, yeah, it's important, but it wasn't a huge deal because we were handling it until you started firing people in the FAA. So I just, man, I'm so frustrated about all of that they fired the nuclear staff and then tried to rehire them because they're like, oh, we kind of need people to manage our nuclear stockpile. Maybe. So they can't do that. So it's just been a lot, man. But only real things I got other than getting off on my soapbox is, did y'all see the new Civic Center in Mobile?
Yeah. Well, I saw a diagram of it, I guess.
Yeah, the rendering of it or whatever. It looks horrible. So I hope that's just like, a draft. That's not the finalized version. But if it is, man, Mobile, I need y'all to step y'all game up on that one. So, and last but not least, man, I just want to say Kanye is a full-on Nazi. Now, I don't know if y'all saw that he released a line of white t-shirts with swastikas on them, and he said, I'm a full-on Nazi now. So, I don't know if it's just a marketing ploy, whatever, but if we're going to start banning people and boycotting, I think we need to start there. And just kind of hold them accountable for that. But that's all. I don't want to talk too much about everything. I'll let you guys talk, and then we'll come back around on my soapbox a little later.
I'm not canceling any people. I'm only canceling businesses. I'm only canceling things that can hit people's pocket and make a difference. Kanye.
Well, I was mainly talking about his Yeezy line.
That don't affect nobody.
But him.
Yeah. Yeah. What you got, Buff?
Basically, let me ask y'all a quick question. Well, I know Razio knows this now, but do you guys know your kid's pediatrician's name?
Yes, Dr. Pham.
Okay, because I like the brothers was letting me down, man. Like this coworker of mine was like, most men most fathers don't even know their kid's pediatrician's name. I'm like, I know mine. It was a couple of them was like, man, I don't know my wife handle all that. I was like, God. So apparently that's like a thing that people say. So I figured you two and like brothers.
I will tell you, before Jen passed,
I was going to ask now before Jen passed.
No, but the weird part about it is, I went to all their doctor's appointments. I just didn't know the doctor's name. Like,
that's true. That's true.
You just said, "What's up, dude?"
I mean, it was. You walk in, you speak to the doc. Y'all had a great conversation. Like, oh, he's getting so big, and she's how old is she now? Like, yeah, and then it's like I know how to get there.
Right. I know the building. I know
how to get there.
I have Bluefish Pediatrics in my phone right now.
I know how to get there. I love it.
I think some of the things like that don't check the box of things a lot of men store in their knowledge base.
I think knowing how to get there is way more important than knowing their name. Way more important.
Right.
Yeah. But Rozzy mentioned like people getting fired and stuff. And like, it's easy when you don't, this is a huge nation. So when you think of federal workers, you generally think of mostly people in DC, even though federal workers are all over the country. So it's easy to like not put a face with a name or a name with a face when you say all these people are losing their jobs. But people really are losing their jobs. And even if you don't know a single person that's gotten fired over these last few weeks, man, just put yourself in your position and just think if out of nowhere, like, because usually people get a heads up like, hey, in 3 months, the company's closing down. No heads up whatsoever, just like you're out of here. And they've done it so clumsily. Like, it's been like, we're only firing people that are on probation or who have bad reviews. Yet people have mistakenly gotten fired that were not probation workers, were not on probation, and had great reviews. We're firing people that were studying and working on the current bird flu, and it's like, oh, we didn't mean to fire them. We need to hire them back. Just like Rozzy mentioned with the nuclear people. Like, whether you agree or disagree with something, the main thing he preaches is competence. And this has been done so recklessly.
Indiscriminately. Like, right.
Yeah. So it's like, even if he was doing all the things that he's doing, if he was doing it in a competent way, that would be one thing. But it's so fucked up. You order all the federal workers back to work. They don't even have the space in a lot of these departments. Yep. They're literally sharing desks, rotating desks. Like 30 minutes at a time. Everybody else is in the hallway or in an auditorium. So even the workers that are staying on departments like FEMA and all these other departments that we really rely on, especially when emergencies and tragedy come, you're going to be dealing with a bunch of disgruntled workers. So the workers that are there, they're going to be upset that their favorite coworker, their best friend or whatever got fired. They're probably going to be more overworked in shittier working conditions than they were when they were able to work from home. You're looking at a good year or two down the line of like some catastrophic type stuff going on within this government, man. On top of the fact, in a few years, if they keep firing people the way they're doing, you're gonna look at a crime wave soon, man. Because at some point, when people have no other option, that's what they have to turn to. Don't like to be like doom and gloom and like just say how everything is going to be bad. But I'm just saying, if it continues the way it's been continuing, bad things are going to happen. And we're already seeing that seemingly with the federal aviation. Like somebody said, I got a friend that said, man, this is all fake news. Like the media has never covered this many plane crashes before. I'm like, it's never been this many plane crashes before in a short amount of time. So
they cover every last one of them. It's just
exactly they don't happen. Always a big deal when a plane crashes.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's commercial flights. I will give him. If you Google, there are, I think there was 126 like small plane crashes, accidents last year. It's always a lot. The attention, rightfully so. Like things happen. I'm one of those believers that things are going to happen. But if you do everything you can in your power to prevent them, then you got to move on with life. But if we're firing the FAA and there's already a problem, right? Let's say there's 120 something last year. Why wouldn't there be 240 this year, right? When you were already understaffed and you had a problem, and now you cut that staff even more, and then you have a hiring freeze, because let's not forget the fact that when you make, I'm surprised they got the people back. How did they get the people back that they fired? They got hiring freeze going on, right? And so those are things. This freak accidents happen, but when you think about this could have been avoided, what life could have been saved if they had the right staff? If the FAA director didn't get fired, like all these things, what could have happened? We'll never know, right? Well, this was going to happen anyway. Maybe not, but definitely was more probable once you do this stuff. I mean, we're in a show, and luckily somebody was saying like, man, just wait to the midterm. I'm like, man, I'm trying to make it to April.
The midterm. It's only been 4 weeks and it's felt like 3 years.
Yeah, you can't even make it a month. Like, that's the thing. It's like, man, this has been the longest month of politics I've ever been a part of.
Yeah. I think the best way to describe this administration is, someone said, it's as bad as I thought it would be, yet somehow worse than I ever could imagine. And simultaneously at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
but it's a month, because if you would have said this, if you would have recapped Trump's 4 years, and you would have said all this was spread out over 4 years, like, man, that month he was crazy. Today's the 19th. Inauguration was January 20th. We haven't made it a full month, and this dude has found a way to disrupt more in a month what most presidents do in
2 times.
A year, 2 years, a whole term. There's a whole term, right? And so I don't know, bro. Because I do want to make sure, and I didn't mean to call you out on the plane thing. I want to make sure, because when we argue our facts, I want to make sure that we because nah, man, they're gonna Google it and put it in your face.
Well, I don't feel like you called me out. I think there has been, in this amount of time, because you mentioned within a year, I'm talking about in the 4 weeks.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'm not sure we've had that many weeks.
No, maybe not
like you said, a lot of times it's small planes where it's operator error, something like that, plane malfunctions, but it was just routine maintenance on you. That, like, the FAA isn't going down inspecting small planes like that, every flight, every month or whatever, right? Yeah. That's the biggest difference there. Is we have had commercial carriers, and you don't see that often. Right? Yeah. Completely flipped over. Like, these things are wild comparatively over what you usually see.
The only other thing I got is make sure you subscribe. We're on any podcast platform. So make sure you do that.
Yeah.
Well, I have multiple things to talk about. We talked about Trump as usual. I'm going to keep that party going. Just letting y'all know, inflation is back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, this is a guy who said he was going to cut it instantly. So this is the highest inflation, highest amount since August of 2023. Right? Prices are 3% higher than they were year over year. And luckily, it's not Trump's fault, because guess who he's blaming?
Biden.
He's still blaming Biden somehow. Like, he's just, I mean, it's...
has nothing to do with his tariffs and
nothing to do.
His international policies that he put in place instantly, on day one, as he said.
Yeah, his campaign promise was to lower prices immediately. That's one thing. So it's a couple of things that I just wanted to highlight. Recently, there was my heart goes out to this family in Texas. An 11-year-old girl in Texas died by suicide after she was bullied about her family's immigration status. So, young lady in Gainesville, Texas, committed suicide at the beginning of the month because kids at school were bullying her about her immigration status, and we talked about, ICE is going to come get her family and all this stuff. The school supposedly was aware of the bullying to the point where at some point the young lady was going to counseling at the school once or twice a week. Never informed the parents.
Wow.
This is the country we're living. We're kids. You know, I feel like maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, we were talking about this generation of kids, our kids, because she's 11 years old. She's Sophie's age. She's Ollie's age, right? And we're talking about the future, and hopefully this is a generation that is going to walk with, you know, become more allies and kind of try to help decrease racism and things like that. Like, there was a bright future for them, and I think we might have f***ed that up. I think race relations is at an all-time low right now. I mean, too many kids are hearing these things. Too many kids. When you have to have young black kids talking about DEI and all this stuff, you want to protect the kids, because that's the point of it. You know, they're too young to be talking about slavery. They're too young to be talking about all this stuff. We're talking about the things that are directly going to impact them. They're going to hear this at their dinner table. They're hearing their moms and dads complain about this. Kids are talking about ICE and immigration, and, you know, there should not be an 11-year-old kid at school being bullied about their parents being deported. Mm-hmm. In no way, no form or fashion. And the school to know about it, or supposedly know about it, where the girl is going back reporting this and her going to counseling at the school, and the school did nothing about the bullying, did not inform her parents, and now somebody lost a child. I mean, it's just sad. It's sad. Speaking of racism, Disney gets to be racist again. That makes, you know, I guess that's when America was great, when Disney was racist. So Disney gets to, they're pulling all of their, like their warning labels and things that were put in movies like Snow White and Dumbo and things of that nature. And if you guys remember in Dumbo, they had the crows that were just caricatures of black people. It was like Super Sambo type, you know, shucking and jiving type things. And in recent years, they added like a warning label about, you know, the depictions and all that stuff. And now they're eliminating all that from their classic movies. So, you know, Disney gets to be racist again. Isn't that the America we love?
It is.
Yeah. So, I think I got a lot to talk about, but I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. Speaking of young ladies, is Sophie available?
She is. Hold on one second.
Did she miss us?
Of course. She was like, we recording today? So yeah, she was excited. Hold on.
Good night, itchy eyes. Good night, sudden sneeze. Good night to your symptoms of allergies. Xyzal is the allergy medicine you take before bed. It provides powerful relief while you rest your head. Not just all night, but all the next day. Xyzal keeps working, keeping allergies at bay. And without those annoying symptoms disturbing your rest, you can wake up the next morning feeling your absolute best. Remember, be wise all. Take Xyzal. At night.
Empower. Claire is practicing her breathing for her upcoming yoga retreat in Bali. Has she ever done yoga before? No. But Claire worked with Empower on her savings and investment strategy. She got good at money, so she can be a little bad. Empower. Invest well, live a little. Join our 19 million customers today at empower.com.
Past performance is not indicative of future returns. Investing involves risks. You may lose money. Advisory services are provided for a fee by Empower Advisor Group, LLC, EAG, a registered investment advisor with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Om Namaste.
Sophia, how goes it?
It goes good.
I miss you. I feel like it's been forever.
Yeah, we can't see her.
Hey, Razi, move. We can't see Sophie.
Exactly. You're in the way.
Yeah, I mean, so did you talk your dad into letting us record this week?
Yes.
Because he hasn't let it record. He's the reason we haven't recorded.
The people are missing me. How could you?
Yeah, I'm like, well, what about Sophie?
Yes.
Yeah, what about Sophie? All right, Sophie, it's been
They're missing me.
2 or 3 weeks. I need a good joke.
Okay. What is an astronaut's favorite control on their computer keyboard?
Shift
The space
control.
bar.
Space bar.
No! I was supposed to say it. It was my job.
Okay. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a good one. How goes
Sadly, Mr. Buff got it. How dare.
it? You
I think
won.
that might be 2 in a row too, by the way.
See, don't worry. That'll end very quickly.
Okay.
You want people to get your
Challenge.
joke every
Challenge
once in a while. It makes it. It's like when you have you ever watched a game show? You got to let people win every once in a while to let people know it's not rigged.
See, it's not rigged because it's jokes.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing about it, if they could never get your jokes, it's like, man, nobody ever gets their jokes. If you get it every once in a while, it makes you
get better.
Yeah, it makes you
Now they're waiting every week to see who wins. So far, you haven't won yet in like a few weeks. You need to lock in.
We had a good stretch.
I think Mr. Buff won more than you. I think you need to lock in.
No, I won a couple.
Yeah, Fergus got some.
Yeah, you just don't like when I win. Sophie, I thought we were better than that.
No, not really.
Okay, all right. Guess who my new favorite godchild
I'll be
is?
back next week if he lets us record.
Boo.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Whatever. You're salty.
I'm salty.
A live recording if you do next week.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, that's going on the weekend.
Or we could do it in the week before.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'll just edit while I'm down there.
Who wants to jump on first?
I don't even remember who didn't go or any of that stuff.
I don't. It's been so long, but I've got one.
I got one. I think
mine. Yeah, I always say this, but it might be quick. Yeah. So I saw a post. I was watching some random video on TikTok, and this chick got mad. She called in. She was like, her family, they make okay money, but they live check to check or whatever, and her husband has a comic collection, and she got it appraised, and the comic collection is worth $2 million. And she was complaining because he would not sell the comic collection to, I guess, make their life easier, better, whatever. His argument was that, his dad started the collection. He loves it. It's his collection. It's not really about the money. It's about the collection and having the things. And they're doing okay. They live check to check, but they're not struggling. So I want to ask you, brothers, would you sell your collection of whatever? If you had a collection that was worth that much money, would you sell that collection, or would you just keep the collection, let it continue to grow, and, continue to live check to check and manage your day to day?
I missed the part. So his dad started the collection?
Yeah, started the collection. He continued with it or whatever. I don't know, if the real expensive comics came from him or his dad or whatever, but either way, the collection is his.
The boring answer is it depends, right? Like it depends on how dire is your day-to-day living situation, how invested you are into what is being collected. In this case, is comic books. Like, that's a real thing for a lot of people to collect them and have this collection and let it continue to appreciate over time. Obviously, if you're facing, like so many people have over the years, if you're facing being evicted or foreclosed on your house, then that's probably a good time to sell them. But if nobody's missing meals and the lights are on every day and you got a little savings and it's something that you enjoy having and collecting and things like that, and you're not in dire need of the money, I can understand him not wanting to sell.
But would you in that situation?
It depends.
You say,
like I say,
not just depend. Let's set the stage, right? Like you say, we eat, we straight, but we can get a bigger house. Tab wants you to sell it so that y'all can get a new house or whatever, a bigger house.
Whose collection is it again?
It's yours.
Okay. So, I mean, all right.
So that's the answer I needed to hear. So my answer is not only no, but hell no. And for the simple fact is, like, if we just sit, and maybe I'm sentimental, like, all three of us have lost a father, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's things that we'll never get back. I'm pretty sure the three of us would love to have had something like that. Maybe you do, Riser or Buff, that you started with your dad. And that's the closest thing I have is that's why it's hard for me not to be a Cowboys fan, right? That's one thing that was a constant for me and my dad over the years. We could always call him, you watching the game? I can't watch this. Like, we always could talk about that, right?
Yeah.
And so to have something that, and I don't know, his dad might be living, I don't know, but to have something like that, that's a generational link between you and him. You know, it just has value. I mean, it's great it had value. If it didn't have value, this has nothing to do with her or him. You know, if he decides that, hey, there's something else I would like to pursue more, that's going to supersede this connection that I have to this, you know, because you can always look at, if we didn't have this, what would we do? Right? We just happen to have this. So this isn't a scapegoat. I didn't build this. I wasn't investing in my 401k or something like this for a situation like this, right? I wasn't investing in this. And he needs to put it in a lockbox, first of all, because she will sell it.
Right.
She will sell it and then not understand why he's upset and feel justified, and will have a bunch of people by her side on this. But for me, it's we're okay. And sometimes you got to look at, if we didn't have this opportunity, if we didn't have these comics, what would we do? So I didn't start this collection. My dad didn't start this collection for this reason. If there was a dire need, am I selling? I can't think of a situation where I would need to sell the whole collection to collect $2 million. Maybe it's like, okay, here's a Spider-Man #1. You know, this is worth $50,000, and I can get this, and I can pay for my kids' college, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe but you don't say, oh, let's trade this in for $2 million so I don't have to work again. Or whatever that is, whatever her goal or the vision of that, because I guarantee she has a plan that benefits her more than him.
Right.
And so I don't see that. I see it as somebody being completely selfish. No.
Yeah.
Not only no, but hell no. Yeah. And I don't collect comics, so.
But any collection. Think about Greg. And he had the dolls, right? I remember at one point.
The Simpsons stuff. Like, he had a bunch of stuff he collected. Yeah.
Yeah. And like Tegan, you know, getting that, and then all of a sudden her man's like, hey, let's sell that so we can go put a down payment on a house, right? And she's like, no. And I think that's the difference of collecting for the collection and collecting for investment, right? There are people out there that collect for investment, like, oh, I'm getting Spider-Man, I'm gonna go buy Spider-Man #1 because I know it's gonna appreciate or whatever, and they're trading it, and they're constantly moving comics in and out of their collection, versus somebody that's just like, no, I collect comics because I read them, you know, I back them, and that's it. I'm done with it. It's in my collection. I like to have the entire run, and I'm not getting rid of any of them because I want to have the whole run of it. So I'm with y'all on it. I don't see where it would. It's not. It is an asset, and truthfully, we can borrow against it. You know, you can have it appraised as $2 million, and if we need to borrow against it or whatever, and get out of a bind, or like you said, oh, something's happened, we're about to get evicted, let's go put a lien on it and go get a loan and pay it back off of that, versus me having to sell something, or I sell a comic or two because to get us out of this bind. Like, it's there for the background, but it's not, oh, I'm gonna trade this in. It's not 40-year-old version where I trade in all my toys and so now, you know, we can go get a house type thing. It's not that. It really is that it's something that has that connection. You know, I collected comics for a long time, and so I know how he feels about saying, I'm gonna give up my, Kingdom Come #1. No, that is a $300 comic book, and it's sitting down in some like collecting dust right now in one of my rooms, right? But that's the thing. Like, I could never see myself like, yeah, I'm gonna give this up for some random thing. Like, unless it was something that I'm like, I got to get the kids to college, right? Or we're in a bind, we got to do it. I don't see myself like just up and doing it. And for her to not understand that is what concerns me the most about that, right?
Well,
go ahead.
I think it's not even about her understanding that. I think the only thing anyone has to understand or should understand is that's their decision to make. Right?
It is, but it is not, right? Like, we're one. It's a conversation about us, right? Like, it's what makes sense for us. If you come into a relationship and you got a house and I got a house and you're like, hey, why don't you sell it instead of rent it? That's a conversation that you have. Your assets, right?
It's a conversation that we can
final decision, yes, but it's a conversation. And so her input and her feelings about it, I think, are valid. It makes sense that she brings it up, but she has to understand if he makes the choice, no, she has to live with it.
But it's his decision to make. And the thing about it is, we're talking about a house that is an asset. A house that is something like, we stay together. We don't need two houses. It's like, this is something that is bigger than you, started before you, has nothing really to do with you, especially if it's not taking away from the family, right? It's, we have two houses. You should sell yours. You find something that's $2 million and sell it, and I'll sell my comics, right? Like, you build up $2 million in net worth and I'll sell mine, because it's my decision to make if this is how we're going to go down this path, because to me, there's a bit difference in being an individual and being independent, right? As an individual, I collect comics. This is something my dad and I started years ago. When I make decisions about our well-being, but this is not about our well-being. This is about you just wanting an easier way of life. This is about something completely different. What other options have we explored outside of me selling my comics? Hold on.
And I also look at that comic collection probably appreciates faster than most things that you're going to put. What would you do? Sell it and go buy property with it? Or I guess start a business that may fail? Or like put it in the bank or whatever? It's like, it's an asset like buying art, right? Like, that's why really rich people buy art, because it's going to appreciate over time.
Bro. You're trying to be too smart. She wants $2 million cold hard cash, so she can go buy the house that she wants. She can do whatever it is. And he's going to look up, the money's going to be gone, or invested in something else that has value or loses value that makes her happy. And he's going to lose because he can never get that back. Mm-hmm. He can never get that my dad bought, Aquaman #1, like whatever it is. Like, he bought this when he was 5 years old. The fact that he did that, like, when I think about a $2 million, because we're not just talking about I think people have to understand what goes into having a $2 million comic collection. Right. You got Action Comics #1. You got a Spider-Man #1. You got first appearance of like, it's crazy. And it's probably not something that started off that way. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm thinking, like, Dad got into comics when he was little and bought these and kept in a pristine condition and built these over the years and all that stuff. And it doesn't. As long as it's not taken away from my life, like, we can't pay rent because I'm spending money on comics. That's different, right? Like, hey, where's the rent money? Oh yeah, that was for sale for $2,000 and I bought it. Nah, dude, like, you're making bad business decisions, right? Well, I don't know if it's bad business decisions worth $2 million, but you're affecting our lives. But just because you personally want something, your wants supersede my wants. I want to keep my collection. You want $2 million. Mm-hmm. We're at a stalemate. Yep. Who wins?
The owner, as Buff said.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Who's up?
I'll jump in. I'll kind of hit. There's actually the thing I talked about with Disney being racist kind of goes into my question. I had a video, but I can't find it. Did you guys watch like Looney Tunes growing up?
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all remember Speedy Gonzalez?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, I rock with Speedy, by the way. There was a post, I don't know if it was on Instagram, Facebook a few weeks ago, where somebody had a post of old video of Speedy Gonzalez, Looney Tunes, and people just reminisce on how great that cartoon was. And not only they reminisce how great it was, they reminisce on how great it was to be able to be racist and nobody got offended.
The good old days.
Yeah, the good old days. And I remember loving that cartoon and loving certain things. And I'm like, you know, they say ignorance is bliss or whatever. Do you think it was better when the country was okay with light racism? Are we too woke now, right? You know, you can have these caricatures, you can have these stereotypes, and it was cool because I'm pretty sure if we go down the line, there was all these cartoons that had, you know, even not even just cartoons, shows. When you think about when they portrayed a gay character, how flamboyant he was or she was in a movie, or you know, I think about Martin and the big dude that used to always hit on Martin. Like they made him over the top, right? And today, they probably get canceled for making this stereotype of somebody gay or whatever. Was it better when we got to be racist and, you know, stereotypical, or, you know, we got to be bigots?
I think it was better for the people that were not affected or offended. And that's pretty much how it always is. You ever listen to someone white in their 60s? And I say that specifically because I just remember like Sean Hannity and someone on his show a long time ago saying how great things were in the 60s. And it's like, for who? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So things were always better when you were not a part of the group that was being oppressed or offended or any of those things. So yeah, for me, I enjoyed Speedy Gonzalez. Was one of my favorite characters. I'm a what's his name? Foghorn, Leghorn, whatever. Yeah. He was my favorite. But I love Speedy Gonzalez, man. But a lot of the characters you mentioned, like on Martin and things like that, they were funny at the time. But I'm not a part of being a gay person. I'm not a Mexican or anything like that. So it was easy for me, especially at that age, to not be offended and just laugh at what I thought was funny. But I'm sure to those people who, you know, were hurt by those things or offended or just doubt, sometimes you don't even necessarily have to be offended. You could just like, you know, just object to it. Like, man, that's and not even be like some emotional things. Like that's stuff. So I would say to those people, no, it wasn't. And it was a lot better. I just think you got to evolve. Like I hear comedians sometimes complaining that they can't be. It's harder. It's much harder today to be funny than it was back in the day. And I'm pretty sure to some extent that's true. But as we evolve, you have to become smarter at things. Last point, because I said the smarter part. Even with policing, I'm in policing and. You know, there was a time when it was just good enough to be a cop to just beat on people. That's all you need to do. Just beat on people, rough them up, and arrest them. Now you got to actually think. You got to think about their civil rights. You got to think about the repercussions on things you do. I know we still see a lot of abuse going on, but a reasonable cop is going to think about those things before they act. And you have to be much smarter when it comes to approaching crime and solving cases and things like that. So with evolution, you always just got to be better than the past. And that's, you know, what comedians and comics have to learn to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was funnier. It was easier. And to Buff's point, it was funnier because we weren't the affected party unless it was about us, right? And really, when you think about it, when it was those characters about us, we were like, a lot of people internalized it. It was funny to us, but you see your William Noids of the world that's like, yeah, black people, you know, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, we started to internalize those things and like start believing them, right? That's how black people are. Well, most black people are poor. Most black people act like that. And it's really not that, right? And so I think, go ahead.
And I was going to say, who came to mind was JJ from Good Times. Like, that he was a divisive character where some people felt like, well, that's how he acted. And some black people were offended. Like, why is he acting like this clown?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, you know, the thing about it is that's where I think shows and stuff have to get good at representation. It's okay to have one of those characters because there are people that act like that. You talked about the flamboyant gay person. There's some saucy Santanas out there that are super flamboyant like that, right?
Saucy Santana.
But at the same time, you know, if that's all you ever show, if that's all you have on your show, then yes, it becomes racist or, you know, ist. But if that's one character on your show and you got a couple other regular gay people on the show too, right?
Regular gay people.
With
they mediocre gay some?
Mediocre, they just kind of gay. Just like, you know, the people that, like, I won't say you can't tell, but they just aren't flamboyant. But, you know, just talking about that, like, I don't like flamboyant straight people either. So my thing is, I just don't like flamboyant people. It has nothing to do with whether they're gay or not, right? But the same way with gay people, we see that with straight people that have representation, right? You see that you'll have a person that's over the top like that. You look at Girlfriends and stuff like that. It worked because you had a Joan to balance what's the loud girl on I can't remember the cast, but like, you know, so you had all the different characters. The same with Living Single. You look at that, right?
Just side note, they were all trash ass friends. If you go back and watch the show, they were horrible friends to each other.
Yeah, it was so bad. But you know, that's what I mean. Like, representation makes it a little bit easier than just being able to just go at the caricature all the time. And I think that's what we have to get to now. And we got to be smarter about it, right? You just got to show that, oh, if I'm going to talk about you, Dave Chappelle's a master at that, right? I'm going to talk about this and I'm going to talk about the flamboyant gay person, but I'm going to have a real heartwarming story about a gay person as well, where they weren't that super over the top flamboyant. So I think that's where we have to be. But to your question about in the past, was it funnier? I think it was to us, right? It was much easier to be funny because people weren't so thoughtful about what other people intended. They weren't thoughtful about the Asian community when they had the buck tooth, like, you know, the what is it, the little pointy hat guy on there, right, with the chopsticks, like Hong Kong Phooey making fun of them and that type of thing. It's like, it was very, very easy to be funny when you don't have to care about the affected party. I think that's where we've gotten to now, where we really do care about the affected party, and we're like, if I'm gonna make fun of you, I understand. I want you to understand that it's just me making fun of you. I'm not trying to make a caricature of you. I don't believe that this is you or as a group or as a block. It's just there are some folks out there like that.
I mean, now, because I think that's what they thought, right?
And that's the other part is I do think that, really, you know, they thought
that was a thought of who people were or how they wanted to portray people. I think you guys said everything that could be said about that part of it. I just look at the other side too. I think a part of it is we don't want to be held accountable for thinking it was funny. Like, it's, you know, we talked about the affected party and it hurt an Asian person, it hurt black people, it hurt, but we don't want to be seen as, because everybody loves a villain, nobody wants to be the villain.
Mm-hmm. Again, right? It goes back to me saying you can be racist without being a racist. And that's what folks have to understand. It's like being a racist is that, like, we were part of that structure when we were supporting that and laughing at that and everything like that. And it's just unconscious, right? You perpetuated the stereotypes by kind of supporting it.
Yeah, and so I think we can debate funny or not, but I mean, it was funny to me at the time, right? But how people just love, like, if you could have read the comments, man, things were just they were just romanticizing not about just a cartoon, about that period in time where they can openly just think something that was racist was funny. It didn't matter that it might affect somebody else, and they might be not only affected, but people were affected, but I think they had to have tough skin. And they were like, why can't we get back to the time where people they didn't get all emotional and sensitive, they had tough skin at the expense of comedy? So I don't have to feel bad about laughing at them. They didn't make me feel bad. Nobody else made me feel bad. So it was funny. I want to be carefree in my ist. I want to be racist. I want to be sexist. I want to be, like, inserted and not feel bad about it. They just don't like, I don't think so many people don't like the fact that they're being called out on things. Like Buff said, as we evolved, it's like, hey dog, you're sexist. Hey dog, you're homophobic. Hey, like, it's nah, like, no, when some of the things you like, when in the black community, growing up as a male, one of the worst things you can do is call a straight black man gay. Oh, Joe gay. Like, those are fighting words. Like, when you question a man's sexuality, and it's kind of like, you question my sexuality, people might question your blackness. You ain't about to fight nobody over that. But no. What you ain't about to call me is gay. Right? And so it's, people have their opinion of you. Does it bother you? I was with the Lamplighters the other day, and I said something, and now everything is paused, where them like, look, let's stop right now. So just for the record, you never have to say pause for me. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, I don't care how you take what I said. If you want to take it a certain way or it sounded cool, but you don't have to say pause for me. Mm-hmm. Don't worry about it. Like, I'm not offended. I'm not, you can think what you want to think. I don't care. I'm going to be me, but we're so concerned and nobody wants to be the bad guy. And I thought that's what I said. It was so funny to me reading the comments. I'm like, people just want to go back to being racist. Mm-hmm. And where it's acceptable. Mm-hmm. And even though we know it's racist, it's like, but nobody cared. It's like, man.
Well, no, that's the problem. People did care. It's just that nobody in power cared.
No, you didn't care that I was racist. I'm not talking about the people who were affected. I'm talking about me. Nobody was calling me out. And I think that's what it is. We keep forgetting that there was a part of it. It's like, it's not that it affected the minorities. The problem is now I'm the affected party, because since we can't talk about the minorities anymore, we're talking about me talking about the minorities. Mm-hmm. That's the problem. Yeah. Right? It's just can't be racist anymore. Let me be racist and you guys go back to being offended. That's and quiet. That's the order of things, right? Yeah. That's the way it should be.
Indeed.
You think you got time for one, Buff?
I gotta check with Rozzy. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah, we can do a long one.
Let's go.
All right. So I do want to let the audience know, I was going to ask about Bill Burr's comments about putting billionaires down like rabid dogs, but there's really no question in that. So I'm going to go to the other hot topic that by the time this episode drops, it will have hopefully cooled down by then, but it was definitely hot for the last 2 weeks and divided Black America. So I just want to ask you two brothers, man, the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. Oh, by the way, I was right about that Super Bowl. I'm telling you, Philly. And Mahomes' numbers aren't great in Super Bowl. But the Super Bowl halftime show, Kendrick Lamar, we had people that loved it. We had people that hated it. I just want to know where you guys fall. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it meh? And what did you like or what didn't you like about it, and some of the messages that you saw in the performance and things like
that? I'll go first. I really liked it, but it was meh. Does that make sense.
Yeah.
I think for the masses, it was meh. And it's hard for a rapper anyway, and especially when you talk about a conscious rapper like Kendrick, right?
And I think he is the first rapper, because Dr. Dre is a producer. He's not really a rapper. Plus, Dr. Dre invited an R&B singer.
Mm-hmm.
I know he had SZA on there, but still, it was pretty much a rapper carrying the entire show.
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken, that's the first. I know Nelly has done like a spot here doing the show, but I think it's the first time a rapper carried the whole show.
It is, and I think that's where it comes down. We always talk about Kendrick doesn't have a lot of like just banger fun, like not like us. It's kind of his first super popular like poppy type thing, right? Like, I mean, it's a lot of them that they're rap songs that got popular. But when I say like,
we gonna be all right.
Be all right. Yeah, like he has songs that are popular and a lot of people know. But what I mean by like poppy, like that people really get into and everything like that, he's not a Drake, right? Like Drake has songs that everybody in the world knows at least the hook to the song. And he did a lot of his verses. So not like most rappers that they might do a verse, they hook, and then they bring out the R&B artist to do the singing part of their like combo song that they have, right? Where he didn't bring anybody. He brought out SZA for one song, 2 songs or whatever, and that was it. And so you can kind of tell the energy change when SZA came out. And so I really enjoyed it because I like his music and I know a lot of his music and I understood what he was saying. When you talk about the visuals and the just undertones and all it's Kendrick, right? He's going to have double, triple entendres even in his visuals. And it was super dope to see. And it was black. It was blackity black. And so I love that part of it. But I can see where the majority of the Super Bowl fans weren't going to be there. And again, we talk about those black folks that, you know, got samboed and all of that. I think a lot of them were just like, no, I don't want to hear the blackity black, like empowerment music of Kendrick Lamar. So I really didn't care. So I was kind of bored about it. And I get that. And so to answer the question, I mean, I just go back to it was meh for a show. Like there were moments in the show that I was kind of bored. I mean, and that was just like, even if I knew the song, it was like, kind of know that song. I listened to it once or twice, but not really. Right. And so it was lulls in the show just based off of that. But I knew why he was doing that. Like if you listen to what the song was about, it's like, I know why he put that in there. But he had catchier songs that he probably could have done and kept the crowd like up the entire time. But he chose to actually bring the message more than just keeping the crowd up. So, but I'll let Ferg go and then kind of, you know, swing back in there.
Kendrick does have more hits than you give him credit for. Let's not forget Swimming Pools, Money Trees, stuff like that. So, which were
damn. I mean, he's got plenty. Yeah.
So, and he has more Grammys than Drake. Shots fired. I really enjoyed it. Was it the Super Bowl performance that I hoped it would be to blow us away? No. But most Super Bowl performances don't blow us away. I think we're more critical of this one than most because of the expectations, because of everything that's going on. I don't know the last Super Bowl performance that blew me away. I like Rihanna. Hers was, you know,
it was mad.
Most don't really blow me away like that. I really liked it, and I liked it from the get-go. 20-30 seconds in tops, I'm like, is this militant patriotism? Because as soon as he came out, I'm like, I just love where he was going. So for somebody who I think is a thinker like me, always trying to see more I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the artistry. I enjoyed the symbolism behind everything. You know, was it a great show for the Super Bowl? No. But if it would have been like maybe the BET Awards or Black History, you know, something, it would have been spot on, right? I think for something of that caliber and you want to be, I think the expectation for Super Bowl is to be blown away. And it sets the bar higher. You do that show anywhere else outside of the Super Bowl, people were like, man, Kendrick Lamar came out with a statement, you know, it would have been great. And then also any other place he would have did it would have been an audience that he caters to. Mm-hmm. Right? BET Awards. Hell, if freaking Kamala would have got elected and he performed at her, you know, inauguration. Like, to me, although that was a show for Black people who want to see a show for Black people. So I like the symbolism. I like what he did. I like his pettiness. But it was a good show. Was it super entertaining? Like I said, I can't think of the last Super Bowl show that blew me away. Even Beyonce.
That Usher is probably the one that I can think of that most recent.
I'm gonna go with Bruno Mars. I'm gonna go with Beyonce in New Orleans, and I'm gonna go with, to a certain extent, I did enjoy Dr. Dre's. I don't know if it blew me away, but like even Kendrick Lamar's set within that one was dope. So I just enjoyed. And Kendrick featured
himself. He featured himself. Dre came out with a lot of people. Like, didn't he have 50 Cent coming out?
Yeah, you know, like Mary J, Eminem.
He had he put on a performance and brought other people in.
Anderson,
yeah, and that's what, like, the thing is, it's like it built on top of itself, and so that's why it was I think so entertaining, because it was like, oh, 50, oh, Snoop, oh, Eminem, oh, and so like it was all this thing, like it's these wow moments, and so it's really hard to put on a show with just you and one other artist, and then Serena Crip Walker.
And I think K-Dot had a theme that he wanted to stick with, and it had to feature him, and he didn't want anything to distract from that.
Yep.
And I think he was very true to himself and what you should probably expect from him as a rapper.
I'm gonna say I think I'm probably more in line with how Rozzy put it. I'll say this: I think it's the best possible performance that Kendrick Lamar could have done, because I think, Ferg, like you said, any other venue or whatever, everybody would been talking about how blown away they were, but we do have the expectation at the Super Bowl, which is why you had some people saying, should he do it? And some people was like, hell yeah, he gonna rock it. He's had the biggest year or whatever like that. I'm gonna say, first off, he looked cute in his bell-bottom jeans. No, I'm just playing. K-Dot fans, yeah, I'm just playing. But I saw a lot of the messages and the symbolism and things like that. I just want to say this, and I keep saying this whenever I can so that the message can get out there. I need Drake fans and Kendrick Lamar fans to know that you guys are both equally annoying. I want you guys to know that from the bottom of my heart. I mean it because here's the thing. It was not that entertaining. And you know how I know it was not that entertaining? Because Kendrick Lamar fans told me it was not entertaining. It wasn't supposed to be entertaining. It was a message. That's what y'all told me. Mm-hmm. It wasn't supposed to be entertaining. He was giving you a message. Okay, so then don't get mad when people say it wasn't entertaining. I think it's okay to not like that performance or not like him, but some of the comments I saw going at people who say they didn't enjoy the show, you know, like, well, you're just stupid, or you wanted to see twerking or Sexy Red. I'm like, damn, there is a whole lot of space between Sexy Red and Kendrick Lamar. Like, damn, like maybe you didn't enjoy Kendrick Lamar, but you didn't necessarily want Sexy Red. I mean, but like, people were getting called stupid, and that's why we can't progress as a people. I'm like, I never knew that what was holding black people back was not liking Kendrick Lamar. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. But I thought overall, man, it definitely was good. It had its moments. Like when I saw Serena, I was like, it was dope. Using Samuel L. Jackson the way he did, I thought
Uncle
that was
Sam.
dope. Yeah. I thought how he teased Not Like Us was dope. It was like, I can't do that one right there. It's like, he's not gonna do it. And then, boom, he does it. And I thought that was really dope. He definitely spiked the ball on Drake. By the way, it's okay to be a fan of Drake and Kendrick Lamar. Want to let people know that as well, even though it's hard to be a fan of Drake because of some of the foolery he's done over the last year, like suing and shit. But just the music, it's okay to be a fan of both. But I don't get how people said it was boring. Now, it wasn't boring. Like, I thought he definitely had his moments and things like that. And even if you didn't know his songs, he definitely brought energy. And that's what you want from somebody that's performing. He brought energy. So it was, again, just to recap, I think that's the best possible performance he could have done. Mm-hmm. While giving his message, while making it the blackest halftime show in the history of Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Because it was black.
Yep.
Well, I was the odd man out. Z and I were the odd man out at our Super Bowl party. And, so as soon as the halftime show was over, probably the first 10 minutes into the third quarter, that was a debate about the show.
Was it good or was it bad?
Yeah. And I think he stayed true to himself. I think he fit within the parameters. I think there was a thing like, hey, the whole time I looked like, it's like I'm black, but I'm American. Like there was kind of a, like, almost kind of what you say all the time, Buff. It's like, and I think I might have quoted you that, like, where, we have our problems. This country has a lot of problems, but there's no place I'd rather be. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was showing like the most militant version of patriotism.
Yeah.
And so from the get-go, I'm like, because if there was no red, white, and blue, it would have been a super militant show. Like, it would have been like fight the power. Like, they had they had the black power fists and everything. And so, but I'm still red and white and blue. I'm still American. I'm still, no matter, I'm performing at the Super Bowl, one of the most patriotic things you can do. And so, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the fact that it made me think. And it's funny because you were talking about, and I think right now we are so used to being so divided that nobody wants to meet in the middle and everything, because you can't be a Drake fan and a K-Dot fan, right? Like it's you have to choose sides, and it's almost like, yeah, I mean, I understand why you didn't get it. And there's some people who just want to, there are some people who just want to be entertained. Like, I don't want to have to think. I want to come out, know a song, be able to dance, groove, do my thing, I was debating with somebody like, yeah, sometimes it's like the people that, if it's not a good book, if it doesn't have pictures in it, right? It's, hey, I want to read a good book. None of my books have pictures. Right. Some people they need to see a visual. Like, it wasn't visual enough for me. I wanted music to move and groove me a different way. So
I saw one post that was like, every restaurant doesn't have chicken nuggets. It's like, it just is what it is. Like,
yeah, I mean, Drake music for the chicken nugget lovers.
Chicken nugget lovers.
Hey, it was the most watched Super Bowl halftime since Rock Nation took over, with 133 million people watching. His streams have significantly increased, and they were already high before. So he did himself a lot of good, and then he's got this tour coming up.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Like, it was so watched because everybody wanted to see it. So I think if let's say we didn't know who the halftime show performer was, like, we weren't expecting, like, everybody tuned in to see this. Right? It wasn't special guest artist Kendrick Lamar, and he comes out and does his performance. Like, Kendrick Lamar. It was, man, he about to kill Drake with this. I wonder if he gonna play not like us. Like it was this whole build up, and it's like, okay, that's it. No, nobody's gonna come down upside down, tied up. You know, he's not gonna do this. You know, cool if Drake came out, or is he gonna bring Lil Wayne out? It's like it was all this anticipation of what he's going to do versus here's my show. It's a good show, but you put more pressure on me than necessary.
If you're a fan of Kendrick Lamar, that was the perfect show. I did say that. If you're a fan of him, that was the perfect show.
He can't do any better.
If you don't know his music, I think that's where the opinions vary. But he put on the best possible show that he could for himself and his fans.
I can really think of a serious artist or a serious rapper who could probably put on a better show, because all you can do is like
all you can
literally do as a rapper is walk around the stage, right?
Nas couldn't do that. I don't even think Jay could do that.
It might be better music that you're more familiar with, but it's like how like Beyonce had dancers, and I mean he had dance. Like what else do you want from him? Like he came out with his little step, like but it's what more do you want from a true rapper?
Right.
Did he perform better than Dre? Did he as a person? Dr. Dre didn't move.
When Dre was playing at the piano, I thought that was
dope. Okay. Yeah, there was a segment. But like when you think about like a 20-minute show and you were the main feature, I can't think of like Snoop. Love Snoop to death. What is Snoop going to do on a halftime show? He's just going to walk around and have some dudes crib walking on the
He'll
side,
have a few dances, yeah.
Like, but what can a rapper do? Unless they are a Nicki Minaj, a Sexy Red, or somebody who's gonna dance for you and perform for you, what can a rapper really do at a halftime show?
So I know you said Rozzy underestimated his hits. I guess what he meant was like crossover hits.
Yeah.
So like people love Snoop, and that's probably more to do with what he's done outside of music than what he's done with music. So like I was telling Tabitha, because she was like, who you think could be? I think Pharrell, even though he's even not a rapper, he's worked with so many different people. Mm-hmm. He has enough hit songs that it's something the crowd can sing along with. I think if you're not a Kendrick fan, I don't know how many of those songs you could rap along with. Which is why everybody chants A minor, because everybody knows the A minor line.
Really, the funny part about it is Flo Rida probably would get more house at a Super Bowl party or a Super Bowl halftime show than most rappers, right?
Does he have more than those two songs though?
He has like 3, 4,
and I know
then a couple
charges
features.
A lot. Yeah, he makes good money. Yeah. He makes good money.
Just to be like low, because they love it.
Because he produces too, though, right?
So I
think so. But to think about like to put on a 20-minute show that featured your music. He didn't have.
He's historic. He's historic. Like I said, he's the first rapper to do this. Mm-hmm. And Dre is not a rapper.
I can't think of.
Dre had help.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't think of like even like that's why Lil Wayne could have did it. Like they showed a clip of Lil Wayne's last performance, and he just walk around the stage smoking, pumping at the air. Like, what do you want a rapper to do? You know, like run around the stage a little more. He's not going to dance. He's not going to dance more than. If he does, it's gonna be a little crazy. Wayne would have performed like, is he okay? Like he was doing a lot of stuff. Like I heard he's strung out, dog. He passed out in a French Quarter last week. So,
hey, my man, peak DMX. I would have loved to have seen that because once he had up in here, he started getting like crossover appeal, and he had, and like Kendrick had that energy. I did love that he was energetic. He was not just pacing back and forth on stage.
For a rapper. Performance.
A single rapper, but I'd say Outkast could do it.
Which is what I wanted when the Super Bowl was in Atlanta.
Okay, that's different.
Yeah, I really wanted
all right,
that.
That's different.
That's different.
How about that, man? We got 3 questions in.
Yeah,
how about that?
Right. Let's go. Let's go ahead and close it out.
Go ahead, Rob.
Speaking of blackity black, 2 things. One, shout out to the Met Gala this year. And so their theme is superfine tailoring black style. So it is going to be dope. I think this is going to be one of those ones that I might watch the entire Met Gala like runway and everything for it because I want to see it. So if you're into fashion, make sure you go check out the Met Gala when it happens. I think it's in April. We'll make sure we let everybody know when it comes out. But that's kind of dope. They announced the theme this year, and I was super stoked about that. And finally, Blackity Black Black. My Captain America is black. So I spoke about it a couple weeks ago. I told everybody to go watch it. If you didn't get a chance to go see Captain America Brave New World this weekend, go see it. It is good. It's really, really good. Much, much better than the critics are saying. I think really they don't like it because it's blackity black. There are some moments that's a little slow and things that could be better. But is it top 5 Marvel movies out there? No, I'm not even gonna say that. But it's good, and I want to just let everybody know, go out, see it. It's a good time. I mean, it has some really, really good parts in it. Great acting. Giancarlo Esposito, what is his name? Giancarlo. He did a great job as Sidewinder. So that was like my favorite character in the whole thing. So he did a really cool part. But go check it out, man. Buff, you saw it, right? How'd you feel about it?
I liked it.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: Marvel has been releasing some shitty movies, so for anybody to complain about this one, I'm like, hey, this is pretty good considering what it's been like. Because I was looking at their timeline, and I completely forgot about Shang-Chi.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, that was a movie, wasn't it? Damn. Like,
I just rewatched that a few weeks ago.
Like, they have had some forgettable movies.
Yeah.
But I do think Marvel is slowly getting back to being good. I'm interested in Thunderbolts. I'm interested in Fantastic Four, and I'm interested in this new Daredevil. So it looks like they're getting their footing back. We kind of said that with Deadpool and Wolverine. So I'm hoping they're getting their momentum back, because right now, unlike the Infinity War saga, nothing's been connecting. Like, you had the Eternals. They finally kind of like drew from that in this Captain America movie. But for the longest,
hey,
I'm done. That's it. So it's like, because before that, it's like, damn, did that movie even happen? Right. What was the point of that movie? Like, even with Shang-Chi. So I'm glad that they starting back to connect again. But all I got is I'm happy for A$AP Rocky, because I'm not gonna lie, when he didn't take that plea deal, I said, nigga, y'all jail. But
25.
But he knew something I didn't. He won, and I'm happy for him. His 2 young kids, obviously Rihanna, so good for him. Looks like he was innocent. 3 Brothers No Sense. Once again, we're going to be in this year's Mardi Gras down in Mobile, Alabama. So make sure you're there on Skinny Monday. As soon as we know what side we're on, we'll try to let you guys know. And definitely, we're going to try to be the float that throws the most stuff, man. So y'all be appreciative, too, because y'all don't know the damn pressure we've been going through in our group chat. Like, man, I don't think I have enough. I don't think I like just buying more stuff. Like, we really don't want to let you guys down, so to speak. Like, we really want to be participants on that float that you can't say, oh man, they weren't throwing nothing. Like, we really are trying hard. We had a great time last year, so we back at it again. And last but not least, man, Ferg got a chance to meet her when he brought the lamplighters up there. The parliamentarian of the Senate, Elizabeth McDonough, and she said, hey, I looked at your post. She said, I love your post, by the way. Sometimes you make me look stuff up. And I now know what's the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6.
By 30, 40,000.
I got her to whisper it to me. She said, the cocksucker part was the best. It was the best part. By 30 to 40 grand. Now beat it, cocksucker. So I say that to say, hey man, post Black history whenever you can. You never know who you're reaching, and there's somebody that I reach.
That's Black history.
Now knows that. Yes, that's Black history. What is the difference between a 4.0 and a 4.6? That's all I got, man.
Wow. Wow. Mine is, speaking of Black history, I will sometimes I forget how good PBS is. I don't know if you guys ever watch PBS, but PBS has some really good shows on there. And so last night I was watching one of their new series, Coming to America, The Great Migrations, and they were just talking about the history of, the black migration through the U.S., starting with, of course, after slavery, but because a lot of people don't know or might not know that after slavery, 90% of all blacks were in the South, right? And then started talking about World War I and World War II and the Great Migrations and how we ended up in these cities like Chicago, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, DC, Detroit, New York, and all this other places moving out west. It's always a very interesting story, and they just do a really good job of highlighting that. And I don't know if I just love period pieces or I just kind of love history, especially our history. It's a good watch. I finished episode 2. I'll probably do episode 3 tomorrow. I think there's 4 episodes. I'm not quite sure, but if you get a chance, check PBS out. What is it? Let me look it up again. It is Coming to America, Great Migration to People on the Move. Really good show, really good watch. If you got a little time on your hand. And outside of that, happy Black History Month, which just the way things are going, this might be our last one. I don't know. Because everything black minority based seems like that's federal, seems like it is being disrupted in some form or fashion. And we're only a month in. So I don't know where we're going to be 11 months from now. So with that being said, 3 Brothers No Sense, 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.